I told you I'm not going to put those at the end of the section if I can help it, and there is another piece for movies, and this one is actually quite strange. Okay, nerds. Welcome to another episode of the news. I, as always, am genuinely nerdy. I'm the one bringing you the things to talk about in today's episode. We finally have some details now that the Discovery WB merger has finalized. We have a Flash leak, apparently, that has come down the pipeline, as well as a whole bunch of casting to discuss. But first, we do have the housekeeping section. So housekeeping, as per usual, just a real quick update on things. I'm starting to get dates for cons and scheduling things out. So we're going to start to mess with the schedule now that we've gotten set on the schedule again. Yeah, just the way summer goes, man. We are coming into Comic-Con season, and I do hope to get a fair amount of interviews, so stay tuned for that. Also, the shout-out section, just a real quick reminder, is getting its own video these days, so head over to the Clips channel to see all of the shout-outs if you are a new subscriber and you are looking to hear your name on the channel or whatever, or if you're a contributor, then by all means, also go check out the Clips channel because I will shout you out over there anytime you contribute to the news. I'll probably also recognize your contribution in the episode, but either way, thank you very much for any of the new followers. If you are a new follower or subscriber or whatever, I appreciate your time and I appreciate your subscription and follow and things. And that out of the way, let's get into the news. So we are going to start off in music, like we do. Our music section this week is going to be a little different because kind of most of our things have to do with new music, technically speaking, so we're differentiating these things and it's really arbitrary. But to start things off, we do have a follow-up. Five Finger Death Punch has officially announced the name of their new record, and they are done recording said new record. It is called Afterlife. I still could not find a release date for this, so when that gets announced, we'll update you further. But there is the first single has been released from this new record. Afterlife, again, is the name of the single as well as the album. So if you are a Five Finger Death Punch fan, go check it out. I have yet to check it out because I honestly didn't have the time this morning, but it is a thing that exists and you can go watch it. Maybe we'll add that to our ever-growing list of reactions. But continuing on, we do have some actual new music to discuss. First off, we have Machine Head have released the first single off of their new record, which they have announced is going to be called Of Kingdom and Crown. The record is to be released August 26th. The name of the new song is Choke on the Ashes of Your Hate. Link can be followed down in the description if you want to go watch the video, listen to the song. I have heard it actually 2 or 3 times at this point, and I've just never been a Machine Head fan. This isn't anything that's really going to win me over to become a flag-bearing member of the Machine Head crew, but it's probably a little bit better than things I've heard from them more recently, so I do appreciate that. Just not anything sterling. They seem to represent the middle of the pack pretty well, and I don't know, just don't really do a whole lot for me. So this is more of that, though slightly better. So Killswitch Engage is our other piece of new music, and they just announced Live at the Palladium. Live at the Palladium is going to be a live album and DVD or video or whatever, downloadable. I don't know. I'm pretty sure there'll be a downloadable version of it, digital version, if you will. And it's going to be 2 separate performances. One is going to be the entire performance of their Atonement record, and the other is going to be the entire performance of their Alive or Just Breathing record. So the most recent record and the record that started it all, live with Jesse on vocals and a couple of bonus tracks thrown in there on the live performances as well. So that is pretty cool. They didn't say specifically if there was going to be a version of the Signal Fire, but I would be very surprised if they left that off. Howard Jones specifically joining them to do the Signal Fire, because he does it on the record with them. He went on tour with them. I would imagine he was at the Palladium to do this DVD. So yeah, again, very surprised if that doesn't happen. But it is also going to be a live album. And this is actually the first time I can't believe nobody else is pointing this out. This is the first time Killswitch Engage has released a proper live album. They have released live songs. They have also released a live performance DVD previously. But this, to my knowledge, is the first time that they're releasing a proper live album, which is pretty interesting. Generally speaking, I am not the biggest fan of live albums, but I am a huge Killswitch Engage fan, so I'm interested to see what happens with this. As far as the new music, aside from the announcement of this record, there is a video that you can go watch. I did not write down which song it was for, but it's off the Atonement record. It is from the Live at the Palladium performance video, so go check it out, link in the description. Don't know why I didn't put the title of the song in my notes, but that's just silly. So that's what we have for traditional new music. And now we have our first piece of regular news that is also kind of new music, is a new band has formed. And this is noteworthy because of the members of said band. So we have Kim Thayil from SOUNDGARDEN, guitar player from SOUNDGARDEN, as well as Krist Novoselic from NIRVANA. And we have drummer Matt Cameron from Pearl Jam and SOUNDGARDEN for a time. They have all joined together with another guitar player, Bubba Dupree, who plays with Void and Hater, and then two vocalists, Jennifer Johnson and Jillian Raye, both in Giants in the Trees with Krist Novoselic. And the name of this new band is Third Secret. And it's a little underwhelming. Like with the pedigree that you have with these players, you have Kim Thayil and Krist Novoselic, just those two names alone hold enough pedigree that you better be swinging for the fences with this project, and it does not feel that way. This sounds like something from the 90s, and not in any really kind of great way, which there's a lot of great music that comes from the 90s. These guys are part of a lot of the great music from the 90s. This just sounds like something that gets played on the radio between the great songs. This is really unremarkable, very unnoteworthy, just not very disappointing, I guess is the point I'm trying to make. But there is a link down in the description for one of the more upbeat songs of theirs that I did listen to. And so let me know what you think about this new effort from some old school grunge heavy hitters, man. Like, really disappointing. Anyway, moving right along, we do have a piece from Slipknot. The guys in the Knot are teasing something known as the Knotverse. It's very likely something to do with some sort of metaverse-esque situation. It's a tease on their Twitter account. It's very similar to the Sandbox tease about something new coming down the road. Sandbox is, I believe, I only did a very minimal amount of research about this, but Sandbox, I'm pretty sure, is something that is looking to compete with the metaverse, which is, again, Facebook's new company name. So, very interesting situation. Slipknot, how they tie into this still remains to be seen. A lot of conjecture around this project. Very potentially has something to do with crypto, which if it does, I really hope they have figured it out, because apparently nobody has figured out crypto yet, but that's a whole other 2.5 hour video that somebody else did much more eloquently than I. Yeah, just, it's interesting. The only way that I have seen that crypto and NFTs and anything associated as such makes any sense is if it is only treated as a pretend currency. If it's only treated as effectively in-game currency for some sort of game. And yet there has yet to be a game properly produced around such a concept, aside from, in a more loose sense, every like pay to play kind of game, but as far as like actual gaming content, has never been based on crypto, the blockchain, so on and so forth. So if that is what this is, then I feel like it makes a little bit of sense. You buy currency to get into the Knotverse, and then you can play the games that exist in the Knotverse, and then you can theoretically transfer items from one game to the next, and it's some sort of virtual world that you exist in. That makes sense. That's probably what this is, but again, all of this is very much conjecture. So since we have nothing else to go on and we're not in the rumors section, we're just going to continue right along. We are now into the touring section of the music news. So first up, we have an announcement from the Melvins, who literally just got done with a tour, and now they're going back out. This time, though, they'll be headlining, so there's at least that. We have the Electric Roach tour. Tickets go on sale this Friday. It will be with Helms, Alee, and Harsh Mellow on the opening side of things. It starts June 15th in Long Beach, California, goes all the way through July 20th in Berkley, California, so it is staying pretty exclusively on the West Coast, though I think they do go as far east as, I want to say Salt Lake might be about as far east as they go, but either way, tickets go on sale April 15th, Friday. If you are into the Melvins, then I very much encourage you to go check it out. They put out 2 records last year. 2 freaking records last year. So yeah, anyway. Next we have Five Finger Death Punch. We're revisiting those guys. They are also going out on tour. This time it's a very interesting situation because they're going on tour with Megadeth and The Who. Not The Who like, who are you? Who? Not that Who. The Who that's the Mongolian metal dudes that do the throat singing that I can't do. But they do the throat singing and they have the really traditional Mongolian instruments. Those guys, The Who, H-U, not W-H-O. So Megadeth is not headlining this tour, though I would imagine when we get a little bit closer to seeing tour posters and such for this, it will be billed as a co-headline of some sort. And actually, I would be very surprised if you go to this show and Megadeth plays for less amount of time than Five Finger Death Punch. I just don't see that happening. Either way, Five Finger is, as it currently stands, being billed as the headliners for this tour. Tickets for this tour also do not go on sale until Friday, April 15th, though I do have a link down in the description for this one. If you are looking for tickets, then you can follow that link if it is after April 15th. This tour is a pretty long one. They are starting August 19th in Portland, Oregon. They are running through October 15th in Salt Lake City, Utah. Again, link in the description if you want to get your tickets. That is what we have for our regular section. Let's get into the music suggestions for this episode in an effort to remind people why Will Smith is so beloved and why, even great people have bad days, and if that was a really bad day, I am going to suggest to you Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince's Code Red album. I believe that is the last album in which they were billed together as DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. It is peak ability between those two and the way they feed off of each other, and just every song, there is literally no filler on this record. And that's not something I can honestly say about a lot of hip hop. Only the greats can do something like this. And this is an example of why Will Smith is still, in my mind and in the minds of many, one of the greats in this genre. I know it's not a genre we cover a whole lot on this channel, but this Code Red record is definitely worth a listen. And that is your music suggestion for the week. So from there we go to gaming and tech, and we actually have a gaming and tech section that's not too terrible this week. First up, we have some follow-ups. We have an update on the edit button over on Twitter. Twitter is in fact attempting an edit button. They are right now rolling out certain variations on the idea with Twitter Blue subscribers. So if you're paying the blue fee for your monthly connection to Twitter, then you very likely have some version of an edit button available to you. I've seen two different examples of how this potentially is going to roll out, like images of people do this. So how it's going to roll out to the mass populace of Twitter still remains to be seen. Very likely once the testing phase is done with the Twitter Blue subscribers, then we'll have a better idea. But it is actually happening. And also they did clarify, though I don't know how much I believe this, that this has actually been something that has been in the works for a little over a year at this point. So it wasn't because of Elon. Yeah, okay. Again, don't know how much of that I believe, but either way, it's happening, so there you go. Our next piece of gaming and tech comes from, we actually have two follow-ups on Halo. The first one is Master Chief Collection. So even though proper monthly updates are no longer happening on MCC, 343 is still doing sporadic updates for this game, and the most recent and largest since the announcement that they were no longer going to have regular support for Master Chief Collection is a new gaming mode for Halo 3 ODST. It's called Flood Fight. It's basically the firefight game mode from ODST, only instead of fighting other military people, you're fighting the Flood, and just all of the video I've seen from this so far is incredible. I honestly never played Firefight before. I just play multiplayer, but I think I'm going to give Flood Fight a go because this looks bonkers. So like a whole bunch of fun. So definitely if you are a Master Chief Collection player, if you are a Halo classic kind of person, kind of player, then absolutely you deserve to pop that Master Chief Collection disc in your Xbox and rock that noise. We do also have the other piece of update information for Halo is a couple of pieces on the Season 2 Battle Pass, and we will be talking a little bit more about this in some Shorts content. So if you have not subscribed to any of the Shorts outlets, YouTube Clips channel, or the Instagram Reels, or even the TikTok, which is where everything kind of goes a little more organized, then definitely do that because there's a lot of leaked information that we're going to be talking about. But this is stuff that has come from 343. We have Season 2 Battle Pass changes will involve a lot more customizations. It looks like there is going to be some, not extensive by any stretch of the imagination, but there will be some gear pieces that are cross-core compatible. They say that the compatibility is not easy to do cross-core, but it's like, I mean, you can create a chest piece and then you can create another chest piece for another armor core and make it look like that one and then have them both be part of the same package. I don't see how that's hard, but whatever. We have at least some new customization stuff. We also have the Season 2 Battle Pass is going to be a lot more oriented towards gear. There is rumor, and this is unsubstantiated, but we're going to cover it here real quick just because it's one real quick offshoot rumor that instead of 100 levels, Season 2's Battle Pass is going to be 120 levels, which makes sense if they are going to do the things that they say they're going to do. Honestly, the update is a book, so I'm not going to go into super amounts of detail here. But yeah, we do have there is confirmation that the Lone Wolves specific armor core is going to be a little bit earlier in the Battle Pass, and then also it's going to be a lot more customization stuff that you earn in the Battle Pass and a lot less of the swaps and the extra points and so on and so forth. So a lot less filler, a lot more of what we want. And then the weekly challenges also are going to be a little bit more appropriate and a little less confusing, and officially they have gotten rid of the Killjoy challenge where you're supposed to kill multiple people, not just one, but multiple people sometimes, who are on a killing spree, and there's absolutely no way for you to know if this person's on a killing spree. So yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense, and that's a pretty big boon to the community. But right now, still feels like they're trying to throw as much out there without really giving us the big things. I think the big things are the things they're avoiding. And those big things are more maps, better customization, and just generally more gameplay options. Because right now you're kind of subject to whatever 343 says is the playlist. Instead of, like in previous games, you can say, I only want to play Slayer, and that's all you play. Or I only want to play this version of King of the Hill, and that's all you play. This is a little more playlist oriented and just has not gone over well with the community. But I'm preaching to the choir. I feel like, oh, there is one other confirmation that we have. We do have confirmation, and if you've seen the screenshots, and I'm going to put some up on the screen, so if you're listening, I apologize, but check out the video because there's screenshots of the Mark 6 Generation 3 armor is actually going to be in Season 2. Some of these screenshots look awesome. So yeah, that is also confirmed, and that is what we have for follow-ups. So let's hit the trailers real quick. We have one trailer, and it is Kingdom Hearts 4 is happening already. I really feel like Kingdom Hearts 3 kind of just happened. I know it was like 3 or 4 years ago at this point, but still, it was a pretty big game. I feel like there's a lot of stuff that these guys could be doing otherwise, but instead they decided, we're going to give you a fourth entry into the Kingdom Hearts franchise, and for that, I really applaud. That's pretty impressive, man. There is a trailer. Again, go check it out. Link down in the description. I looked on every source who mentioned this, and I could not find a release date. So unfortunately, the release date is unknown to me. If we do get that information, we will follow up in a future episode. But that is what we have for trailers, and that is our gaming and tech section for the week. So, gaming and tech suggestions, since we're done with the section, we have Splitgate. We're coming back around to Splitgate, man. I am a big Halo fan, but Halo is starting to get a little dull these days. So in order to keep things fresh, Splitgate will definitely scratch that itch. And they have a Forge mode. It's not called Forge because, copyright and such, but it is, you can build, it's a map editor. You can build your own map from scratch. I want to start, and let me know in the comments if you would watch such things, but I want to start making maps on the live streams from time to time. So yeah, let's talk about that. But that is our suggestion for gaming this week, is Splitgate. Comic books and books. We have news, actually. We have one follow-up in comic books and books, and that is the DC Webtoons collaboration is giving us more content. We have more books coming through the Webtoons platform. So with the success of the Wayne Family Adventures, we are now getting, first out the gate is going to be a Vixen book, and then a Red Hood book, and then a Zatanna book. So they're definitely not looking this gift horse in the mouth. They see what works, and that's Batman, so they're staying in the general vicinity of Batman. So yeah, totally makes sense. Link in the description if you want to find how to go to the Webtoons and read the things and do the stuff. But yeah, that is our one follow-up. The one piece of news that we have has to do with a new comic book that has been announced. Wesley Snipes does not just play superheroes in the movies, but he also produces books that deal with superheroes. So Exiled is the name of the first book. Wesley Snipes' production studios called Mandy House Studios has partnered with PCB Entertainment for a new comic book called Exiled. It is going to be on Kickstarter if you want to crowdfund, if you want to join the crowdfund and get this thing made. Real quick synopsis kind of what's going on. I'm going to read this, so I apologize. But the comic will follow Detective Niles Roach Washington as he pursues a serial killer in the aftermath of a deadly gas attack. As the killer rips the spines from his victims using tools over 5,000 years old, the world outcasts Roach for his theories, but his instincts keep pushing him forward with enemies on all sides and within. He wades into the darkness to find the killer and uncovers Earth's darkest secret. Interesting. We have writing this as Adam Lawson, Wesley Snipes, and Keith Aram and Keith is the PCB president. They will also be contributing to the writing room, I guess. We also have Gabriel Santos on art and Valentina Bianconi, for colors. Did not see who was doing the lettering for this, but that is the art team as I was able to figure it out. Again, Kickstarter is going to be the way to fund this if you want to get your copy of Wesley Snipes' book. It worked out pretty well for Keanu Reeves' Berserker, so I can't imagine why you wouldn't want to check this one out. That is all we have for comic books and books, though, so let's move into comic book suggestions. We are, again, doing a comic book and not a piece of literature. Arguably, this one is literature. We're talking Arkham Asylum, the Grant Morrison classic. Every page is a new, every panel even is a piece of art. The art was done by Dave McKean. And honestly, this is, even if you don't like to read comics, you just enjoy visual art, this is a book that you must take a peek at. You must put your eyeballs on the pages of this book, just because, again, every panel is a work of art, and it's 90s art at its finest. So I mean, go into it with that expectation, but the aesthetic is really, really unique to this, and Grant Morrison is a really, really unique writer. So every aspect of this book is fantastic. Also featuring letters from Gaspar Saladino. That is our suggestion for comic books this week. So, in TV streaming, the place with usually the most of the things, we have a whole bunch of follow-ups to get out of the way. So let's just jump right into those head first. We have Percy Jackson and the Olympians has cast their Percy. Walker Scobell will be playing Percy. If you don't know that name, it's because he's a relatively new actor. He was young Adam in the Adam Project, which we have things about that in the movie section, so stick around for that. But yeah, Walker Scobell will be playing Percy in the Percy Jackson series. We also have some casting announcements for the Gotham Knights series. We have joining the cast, we have Anna Lore from All American. She has been cast to play Spoiler, aka Stephanie Brown. Also cast in this series, just to kind of update as we go, we have Fallon Smythe has been cast as Harper Row, Tyler DeChira, I apologize, as Colin Rowe, and Olivia Rose Keegan as Duella Dent slash Joker's daughter, and Oscar Morgan as Turner Hayes. Also Nevia Robinson as Carrie Kelly, and Misha Collins as Harvey Dent. So Carrie Kelly is an interesting one there. You know, she was a Robin who was a redhead, but the Nevia Robinson is not a redhead and is a number of other different things. But the real thing that I was really interested in, because I didn't originally see this announcement, was the Duella Dent Joker's daughter casting, Olivia Rose Keegan. Are they going to play this as two different characters? Because those are two different characters. Duella Dent is not Joker's daughter. In most continuities, I guess in one of the continuities she is, but in the main continuity she's not. Joker's daughter has another mysterious origin. I have the origin book of hers, and there's like 3 different possible origins for her. Duella Dent, though, is from a different universe and she takes the mantle. She claims to be Joker's heir to the throne, effectively, but she has no actual blood relation to the Joker either. So I don't know, just an interesting aside, I think, for the Gotham Knights series. I don't know how they're going to do that. That's one of my favorite. I mean, I love Joker, but that's one of my secondary favorite Batman villains is Duella. And actually, I think more appropriately, Joker's daughter is a Catwoman villain and Duella Dent is a Batgirl villain. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Either way, cast for the series, so my interest is a little bit more piqued. That is what we have for Gotham Knights. Next up, we're really briefly going to update you. Curb Your Enthusiasm, Larry David has announced that there will be a 12th season. The interesting thing about that is it's going to be season 12, but it's a series that's been going for 22 years. Which is, I mean, I knew it was older than the amount of seasons it had, but I didn't realize it was almost twice the age. Yeah, that's pretty hilarious, but I mean, Larry David is what Larry David will do. And then we have another quick one for Lock and Key. The official announcement has been made that season 3 will be the final season for the Netflix series. And then one more quickie at the bottom of this, we have the House of the Dragon, the Game of Thrones prequel series, now has a official release date, and that is August 21st of this year. So we will be getting more Game of Thrones action before the end of the year. Whether or not that's a good thing, I'll leave up to you. But yeah, so we do have a new trailer to talk about as well. Stranger Things Season 4 has officially dropped another trailer. This time we get a little bit more of a taste of the villain, apparently, from the Upside Down. I'm torn on this, so let's talk about this ever so briefly. Now, for you, and let me know how you feel about this in the comments, but for you, is it more effective to have the villain in something like Stranger Things to be, or the antagonist, I guess, it would probably be a little bit more appropriate, to be although potentially intelligent, but a voiceless creature that is like almost Cthulhu-esque? Or is it more effective to have something that resembles a human in most ways, that can talk and antagonize in that way, as well as also kind of being a creature? Like, I feel like the voiceless creature, the unknown quantity, if you will, is a little more effective, is kind of why seasons 1 through 3 worked so well, is because we didn't really, there was no connection to this creature. It was just a machine. It was just a monster that did a thing that, while again still potentially could be intelligent, there is a way to do intelligence without making a humanoid creature to focus your hatred on, or whatever, your fear. I just feel like this is a weird choice. Also, keep your eyes open in this trailer if you want to see a little more of a taste of Robert Englund in this series. But yeah, I don't know. I really want to hear your thoughts. Is it more effective for the villain of a series like this to be humanoid, or to be a voiceless monster? Let's discuss amongst yourselves. Yeah, so that's the one trailer that we got this week that was worth talking about. And then we have the announcement of a new DC property going to HBO Max. This one is called You Brought Me the Ocean. This is the new Aqualad series that is going to be non-canon. It's going to be self-contained, but it is being produced by Charlize Theron's production company. Don't know the name of it. It wasn't in any of the announcements. Just everyone saying, Charlize Theron's producing a comic book series. Based on the book by Alex Sanchez and Hul Morrow, I believe is the name of the second person, I guess. And this is not the traditional Aqualad. This is going to be a variation on the Young Justice, I believe, Aqualad, where it's the kid who was raised human and is gay and mixed race, I believe. Because the original Aqualad was a white kid, and then this guy is not. And he also has like fins in some of the artwork. I don't know. I don't read Aqualad or Aquaman very much at all, so I'm super only mildly aware of this character. So very interesting. And also apparently the source material that this is based on even takes that as the origin of that character and changes it up a little bit for the book. So that's presumably how they're going to do it in the series as well. Very little else is known about this so far, so that's all we got. That actually brings us to the end of TV streaming, which means we got suggestions. So, TV suggestions for this episode. This is an easy one. Moonlight. I mean, at this point, by the time you're watching this, episode 3 has launched, so those of you waiting, now is a good time to start watching this series, because I've seen 1 and 2 so far. I'm loving it. It is a lot of fun. Again, never was much of a Moon Knight reader before, but this definitely has piqued my interest, though I do understand there is some pretty dramatic differences between the books and this series, though the series is still pretty solid and entertaining, and so far, no major internal logic issues at all. So that is our suggestion for TV streaming this week. Okay, nerds, pause. That was TV streaming. Up next is movies. But before we get there, we do have to talk about the live stream. Live stream every Friday night. Mountain Standard Time is 7:30 p.m. That's where we talk live about the news for the first hour-ish. And you can contribute to that portion. You can also contribute to the second portion, which is just gaming. We just throw down on some games. We got Halo, we got some Mortal Kombat, probably some Bioshock, definitely going to be some Splitgate in the near future. So all of the things, if you want to join and just become a part of the conversation, or just have a completely different conversation, then by all means, youtube.com/generallynerdy is the place to join and do that. Also, website, generallynerdy.net, is the place that you can go get your nerdy merch, see all of the writing things, and so on and so forth. And that's the place to do that. All right, now all of that being said, which then puts us into movies. So movies section, is going to be relatively quick. This is, it's a little late. I got a late start on the research and the filming and such for this episode, so that's why we're kind of breezing through things. But follow-ups for the movies section. We're going to start with Fast 10. The 10th iteration of Fast and Furious franchise has officially cast Brie Larson as an undisclosed character, though according to Vin Diesel, she's going to be a major part of at least this movie, if not the franchise going forward, which has Brie Larson super happy, and why do we care if Brie Larson is super happy? It's just, and the expectations of quality with this series are different. So I feel like this will be a great platform for Brie Larson, actually. So sure, fine, okay. Let's just make this just go absolutely over the top and ridiculous with this, because they get it out of your system so that you don't expect it out of every other movie that you're in going forward. And I'm looking at you, Vin and Brie. All right. We also have the finalization. All right, so we did get the closing of the deal between Warner Brothers and Discovery, and we now know for certain that that deal did include DC in all of its capacities: movies, TV, comic books, and games, which is pretty huge, that last one, because at least if you are a fan of the channel at all, or you follow the channel, then you'll know that one of my favorite IPs is Mortal Kombat, gaming IPs very specifically, and the studio that makes Mortal Kombat also does the Injustice games. And so the Injustice games, it's not going to be an Injustice game next. It's fairly evident at this point. There is every reason to believe that it's not going to be Injustice next. And really, it's not going to be Injustice next. So the reasoning behind that is very much been left up to speculation. And largely the assumption is that the merger of Discovery and WB put those properties in limbo. Will they have the ability? Will DC and Warner Brothers characters be okay together? It sounds like potentially no. Because NetherRealm is not a DC gaming company, DC was very much a part of this. I was unable to find if there was a specific mention of NetherRealm in the final notes, but as more comes out about this merger, we will definitely be talking about it. But under the assumption that NetherRealm and DC are split now, we very likely will not see any more Injustice games. It will just be Mortal Kombat and whatever new IP it is that they're working on currently. So yeah, that's a pretty interesting situation. Again, be keeping tabs on this, and as more comes out, we'll be talking about it. But moving right along, we have a real quickie from the Netflix, and that is about the Adam Project. Adam Project is now apparently the 4th most watched movie on the platform ever, which is huge. Again, I'll restate what I said when that movie first came out, and I made it my suggestion that week for movies to watch, and that is, this is a movie that proves that you don't need to set up something going forward. You don't have to have a sequel. You don't have to create a universe. You can just create a fun popcorn movie and have it be worth something. Have that be the thing that draws people to the outlet in which they can watch it. So since it's a Netflix movie, it's not exactly like it's going to pull people into the theaters, but if it had been a traditional studio movie, it would have probably pulled people to the theaters, and it probably would have made a whole bunch of money too. So this is a lovely example of the potential for current Hollywood. Whether or not that potential gets realized is definitely remains to be seen. But either way, there's hope, and we're gonna move a little past the hopium and kind of actually squash it, because now we're moving into movie news. And honestly, I probably should have put this in TV, but movie was a little light, and he was in movies. But Gilbert Gottfried has passed on. Apparently, Gilbert had a very rare muscular disease, and I wrote it down so that we could talk about it. But the name of it is recurrent ventricular tachycardia due to myotonic dystrophy type 2. That's a lot of words, a lot of big words. So sad day. We have lost another comedic legend. I just saw a video of him too, doing a shout out for Slipknot, saying that he was Tortilla Man. Oh man, Gilbert Gottfried was one of the highlights of the Bob Saget roast, to kind of add insult to injury with the passing of comedic legends in the last couple of months. But oh man, it's still pretty big. We're just gonna take a moment real quick and remember Gilbert Gottfried.
Mexican food. Why is love like a fart? If you have to force it, it's probably crap.
Okay, now that we're done with that sad piece out of the way, I told you I'm not going to put those at the end of the section if I can help it. And there is another piece for movies, and this one is actually quite strange. So Spirit Halloween, that is a store that is owned by Spencer's. Spencer's Gifts owns Spirit Halloween. I don't think I'm breaking new ground by announcing that, but somehow Spirit Halloween got a movie made after it, and this isn't something that's going to happen in the future. This is something that they just finished wrapping the production of. We're in post-production on this thing already, and that's not even the weirdest part about this. Christopher Lloyd is one of the stars of this movie, and that just made me go, well, now I have to see it, because A, weird, and B, Christopher freaking Lloyd is in a quote-unquote family, where did it go? Family-friendly adventure is how they are describing this. It sounds like there's a haunted Spirit Halloween store, and these 3 kids dare each other. I bet you can't stay the night in there on Halloween, and crazy ensues, and it sounds like another fun popcorn movie that's really not going to add anything to the conversation of film, but not every movie has to do that, and this sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun. Also in this, totally also random, Rachel Lee Cook is the other adult star in this movie, and that just made it go, what? Rachel Lee Cook, for those that may or may not know the name, she was in She's All That. She was the nerdy girl that they made over in that movie, and she becomes beautiful and whatnot. But yeah, just and she's been in plenty since, but that's just like the thing that millennials will know. Yeah, this sounds like such a bonkers movie, and it's coming out this Halloween. Like I said, they just wrapped primary photography, so they're into post-production, and it's gonna happen. I hope this movie makes like $700 million. This is just nuts. I'm just gonna keep in this rut if I don't move on. So we gotta move on. But that's the end of the movie section. So let's get into movie suggestions. We have this week's suggestion is also a Netflix movie, and I honestly didn't think I was going to like this one, but Metal Lords, totally worth a watch, man. Like, I was blown away by this movie. Now, there is definitely some cringe in this movie, and really, really hardcore cringe, but I feel like the highs offset those really cringy lows of this movie so much so that it's absolutely worth a watch. And the Joe Manganiello cameo in this was really off-putting because I almost didn't recognize the guy. He's built like a freaking door frame, usually, but watch the movie and you'll see what I'm talking about. Still, felt very appropriate in spite of the fact that he almost seemed out of place when you first saw him. So yeah, really fun movie, totally worth a watch, and kind of a caricature of a fair amount of things that happened to me in high school, not gonna lie. So yeah, Metal Lords movies recommendation. So let's hit up the rumor mill, shall we? We have a new source on a previous rumor that we've actually had a number of new sources on. So this is ever increasing the likelihood that this is going to be the case. What am I talking about? New source for Wakanda Forever, the Black Panther 2 movie. We do have another source saying that it is going to be Namor as the villain for this movie. So, and also a pretty good source. This source has a pretty strong track record. We're putting this one about 75% likely that we will be seeing Namor as the primary antagonist for the Wakanda Forever movie. So into new rumors, we have another X-Men rumor. This time, though, there's a strong piece of evidence to support this. So the rumor is that there is finally a new movie in the early stages of production. So we're still looking at pre-production. They're still writing the script. And the reason we know this, and this is very likely the case, it could be a different X-Men project. There is going to be the X-Men 97 animated series on HBO or on Disney Plus. So it could be for that, though it does not seem as likely. The writer for Multiverse of Madness and Loki, Michael Waldron, was wished good luck by a writing friend of his on Instagram dealing with the X-Men. Good luck writing the X-Men was the, I believe that is verbatim what was said to him. So being as we have hit the last like 5 projects that he's worked on have been live action, they have been for Disney, and now we have another writer wishing him luck on writing the X-Men. And I also feel like we've gotten a fair announcement of who is writing the X-Men, a lot of the return people and so on and so forth, and he wasn't on that list. So yeah, even more evidence, even though this does just come from one source, it kind of comes from 2, and one of them being the man involved. So we're putting this one at 80%. I will be very surprised if he is not at least credited as a writer after the fact. Now, it could go through the hands of multiple writers. He could not be the final writer, but very likely he is the man writing the movie as it stands right now. Next is a Pokemon rumor, and then not a Pokemon movie rumor or anything like that, a Pokemon gaming rumor. So apparently Scarlet and Violet are rumored to have 130 new pocket monsters. That's right. This is going to be the biggest new update since Gen 5 for Pokemon. That seems pretty big. This comes from a pretty solid source, though it is one source that is source with a average to slightly above average track record. So we're going slightly above average or slightly above neutral anyway, and that is 65% likely that we're going to be seeing 130 new Pokemon in the next game. Next rumor has to do with Breaking Bad, and actually, it's a spin-off of Breaking Bad. Gustavo Fring, who was played by Giancarlo Esposito in the Breaking Bad series, who died rather epically, is reportedly going to be getting his own spin-off prequel, obviously, because he died in Breaking Bad. But yeah, this comes from people who are involved with the production company. Now, production companies do more than just one thing, so it's very possible that this could be for a different series or even a different movie, but still pretty solid leak coming out of this one. 60% on this one, just because, again, production companies could be teasing things and then really give us something else. PS5 rumor coming up next. This one actually has to do with the PS5 controller and not the PS5 console itself. So if you are a gamer and you enjoy the PlayStation 5 controller, but you don't have a PlayStation 5, you are playing on your PC, then you know that you're pretty much stuck with the base firmware, because the only way to update the firmware in the controller so you can get the full advantage of the haptic feedback and so on and so forth is to update that firmware through a PlayStation 5. There is no way to update it on PC or Mac, and obviously no way to update it on Linux. But that very well could be changing. We do have rumor that Sony is actively working on a PlayStation 5 controller updater program for the PC. I did not see any mention of them working on this for Mac, though I would be very surprised if they did not eventually, if not at the same time, release one for Mac as well. This comes from a number of sources at this point, and so it's kind of almost inevitable, and it also makes freaking sense, because why would Sony not have this capability already built in if it wasn't at the very least being worked on? So all of that being said, we're going to give this one a 90% likelihood that it is the case. And then we got to move right along to another Flash rumor. This one, though, very interesting. So we have a rumor about the post-credit scene in The Flash, and it's not Flash related directly. It is going to deal with Aquaman, and it is going to deal with this new universe going forward. And it is going to reportedly establish that in the universe after the Flash, the events of the Flash movie take place in this new universe, presumably, that they create in the aftermath of that, there is no Superman. That seems a little misguided, but this comes from such a good source that I really... And also, we have other rumors about Supergirl being the new Superman for the movie universe, and all of these other pieces that kind of fit with this. 80% likely that this is going to be the case. They can't figure out Superman, so they're just going to avoid him for a while, it would seem. So yeah, 80% likelihood that that is going to be how they attack the Superman problem that they're having so bad these days. And then we have actually a whole bunch more news and rumors and stuff, nerds. You just got to go to the previous episodes to watch them. So you can click or tap the boxes as they're appearing there to the side of my face. There should be 2 different playlists. You can also see the link to the Clips channel there. So go check that out if you're watching. If you are listening, then hit up the youtube.com/generallynerdy in order to see the things and the stuff. And thank you very much, nerds, for joining me. If you're falling behind, you want to catch up, that's where to go, do the thing. Always remember that if it's generally nerdy, it's probably here.